Hi, my name is Kengnat Jr. Today we have a very special correspondent from Gabon that will take you on a virtual tour deep into the origin of the Gabon daily life, interpreting many of his important art, statues, rituals, and more. I'm happy to present to you Owale.
Is a Central West African country rich in culture, art, music, dance, and boasts an abundance of natural resources. The official national language of Gabon is French, and the population has reached 1.5 million people. Gabon's strong economy in Owendo, Port-Gentil, Franceville, Santa Clara, Mayumba, has made it one of the most prosperous countries in the region and is known as a stable, peaceful nation. Gabon has 13 national reserve parks, which has some of the most extinct and exotic animals in the world. Over the last 5 years, Gabon has opened its doors to embrace ecotourism. Now, to present a cultural look at Gabon, here is Owale.
And I will be your guide throughout your visit, to share with you the life of all these peoples who mingle their everyday activities with art and the sacred. Follow me. Astride the equator on the west coast of Africa, with a surface area of almost 270,000 square kilometers, 2/3 of which is covered in dense rainforest, where the trees have evocative names such as Okume, Padouk, and Iroko, crisscrossed by rivers, the largest of which, the Ogowe, forms a large Y shape of 1,200 kilometers across the country, bordered by 800 kilometers of virgin coastline on the Atlantic, where a rich fauna has thrived since the origins, while in the shallows, blue whales frolic. This is Gabon. But Gabon is much more than this. For those who wish to venture into the plateaus in the south or deep into the tall trunks that obscure the sky. It was in the exuberant, shady, nourishing forest amid majestic trees that the first inhabitants, the Pygmies, lived from the beginning. You can meet them now, along with the other Bantu groups that people our country. The Pygmy populations are mainly forest dwellers and have a strong presence all over Gabon. The oral traditions of the Bantu peoples they rub shoulders with acknowledge their role of guide in the various migrations in the inland territories. In each of the areas they live in, they are called by a different name: Bakoya, northeast; Baaka, north; Babongo, southeast; Babongo Barimba, south; Okowa, west. The Pygmies are traditionally nomadic hunter-gatherers. They live in huts built of branches. They move their camps mainly to avoid disease and to search for an environment more favourable for their way of life. The Pygmies have always had a degree of detachment regarding material possessions, which would tend to explain why few objects from the past have been found. Music and dance play a very important part in their lives. The Baaka of the north have developed polyphonic yodeling. It's highly original, and their songs are handed down by oral tradition only. These songs play a vital part in their daily lives and in their rituals, particularly the ritual of Nzengi, the spirit of the forest, which manifests itself at important ceremonies. Gabon belongs to the cultural area of the Bantu, which stretches from the Sudan to Cape Rock. The Bantu people arrived more than 5,000 years ago through major waves of migration, and almost all had the Bantu language in common. The peoples only reached their present dwelling places in relatively recent times, between the 14th and 19th centuries. And they came from both the north and the south, with a slight predominance from the northeast.
UniversalVoice.tv reaches 6.3 million in Southern California and 50 million on Punch TV network and streaming worldwide. If you want to advertise or sponsor this program, give us a call at 323-356 9063 or 310-329-6977.
Much of Gabon's artistic freedom of expression is recognized in statues, masks, tools, and traditional ceremonies used in everyday life of this spectacular group of people. Take a look at the daily lives of the people of Gabon.
Here we are in the space reserved for daily life. The daily life of the peoples of Gabon has always been marked by spiritual and material concerns, as well as aesthetic preoccupations. So welcome to this space, where you can take a look at everyday objects, ornaments, dances, music, women's activities, and many other things that are a part of daily life. Are you ready? Then let's go. The life of the peoples of Gabon is influenced by their environment. Only the ancestors and certain living persons have the power to explain or affect this environment. The Ganga are just such persons. Note that Ganga is a generic term for all people who hold special knowledge. With a vast knowledge of the properties of plants and their application, he is both healer and diviner. He may also be called upon to perform exorcisms. His multiple powers make him a personality who is always feared and respected. Nonetheless, he plays an important role in regulating the life of the community. Nowadays, people from all levels of society have recourse to the skills of the Ganga to heal, to ward off ill fortune, or to favourably influence a decision. Essentially a male preserve, hunting can be done in groups or individually. For lone hunting, the accessories used are weapons to be thrown, spears for example, traps, and from the 19th century onwards, the rifle. For group hunting, most often net hunting is practiced, or hunting with dogs and bells, used for beating. In addition to its function as a source of food, hunting also helped bind societies together, especially when practiced in a group, and also played a role in the apprenticeship and initiation of young boys. As for fishing, it is practiced by both sexes. Traditionally, the sea and large rivers were reserved for men, while the women fished in the streams and in the brooks in the dry season. Metalwork was the job of the initiate. Only initiates could take care of the mysterious transformation of iron or copper. This task had both a technical aspect and a mystical one. This conferred a particular social status on the blacksmith. The blacksmith manufactured everyday objects such as weapons, cooking utensils, and tools for agriculture. His main instrument is the forge bellows, which were sometimes given an anthropomorphic representation, as you can see here. Jewellery and hairdressing have always been part of cultural traditions. Men and women are always concerned about their appearance. The women, for example, decorated themselves in an original way by covering their chest with necklaces. They tied their hair back with a multitude of bunches of beads made from plants. With the fang especially, the women and the men often wore richly decorated headdresses, made of woven fibres and comprising small white shells called kouris. The Mayeni women, for their part, also wore extraordinary hairstyles, decorated with ivory combs and hairpins. With the Aduma, Guisir, Kunu or Lumbu, shell headdresses influenced the style of the white masks they are known for. Iron and copper were used for rings and bracelets. The sculptor of olden times was a man of recognized skills. He produced things for a purpose, but also worked at the request of the masters of initiation societies and rituals. For these, he would produce sacred artifacts and fully express himself artistically, as you can see here. Many items used as part of rituals are considered in daily life as the attributes of wisdom and power and are subject to particular care. They may be anthropomorphic. This is the case of the cane, the broom or fly swat, bells and horns for calling. The cane, for example, embodies power, stability and wisdom. The bells are used to command silence during discussions, while the ritual broom or fly swat is used to keep evil spirits and danger at bay. Traditionally, the use of the pipe was reserved for adults only, for the pipe was the symbol of wisdom and power. Some even had 2 bowls and were decorated with strips of copper. In addition to their use in rituals, musical instruments are also very much a part of the daily life of the peoples of Gabon. These instruments are used to communicate and for celebrations. They announce deaths, births, invitations to meetings, and all important events. As part of celebrations, they give rhythm, pace, and melody to events. Traditionally, in both cases, musical instruments are played only by men, and their handling is learnt in contact with experienced players. Music and dance are an element of ethno-linguistic identification. In traditional society, women play an essential role. They are in charge of a certain number of activities, particularly in the growing of crops, the maintenance of arable land, domestic tasks, and the education of children, which is shared with the men. For the growing of crops, for example, women help to choose the sites and take part in clearing. They're in charge of the sowing, the weeding, and the harvest. They make some of their own tools and utensils using pottery, basket making, and weaving. They are helped by their daughters in some of their tasks and so provide them with instruction.
UniversalVoice.tv reaches 6.3 million in Southern California and 50 million on Punch TV Network and streaming worldwide. If you want to advertise or sponsor this program, give us a call at 323-356-9063 or 310-329-6977.
The Djembe is a rite of initiation that is mainly reserved for women. In widespread use by the Mieni and the Kizia, the Djembe has many correspondences in other peoples, known under the name of Nyembe or Lisimbu. Traditionally, Djembe initiation that confers social status on a woman takes place between the ages of 10 and 12. It concerns all women, plays an educational role, and encourages a sense of solidarity amongst women. A Djembe ceremony is directed by the principal initiating mother, the Gwivilam Polo. Her assistant, the Nchende, is responsible for gathering plants with multiple properties. The new initiates are called the Ingonji. The other young apprentices are the Amenga-menga. As we can see, they wear white loincloths and paint themselves with white kaolin and red haddock powder. The Jobi is a rite of initiation bestowing protection that is reserved for men. It is also used to regulate social order. It is mainly practiced to the east of Gabon by the Obamba, the Teke and the Zebi. Directed by a master of ceremonies, the guardian of the Jobi, Ga Nkobo, it comprises a large number of taboos relating to sex and food. The initiates as a group are referred to as Anga A Njobi. The rite is practiced at the request of the chief or on the occasion of an initiation, the death of an initiate, or even on the occasion of celebrations, in which case only the public part of the ceremony is performed. The initiation takes place in a dedicated space in the forest to which only initiates have access. During the initiation, the new initiate pronounces a series of sermons, including that of remaining just. This stage is followed by a purification phase. The public part of the ritual takes place in the Olebe, the house of the men devoted to the Jobi.
We have come to the end of today's show, universalvoice.tv. Thank you for watching our program. See you in 2 weeks. I'm King Nat Jr. Salut, ciao, goodbye.